Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button as well as the little bell for notification of upcoming videos. There are so many things that I would love to share with you, so stay tuned for those. Today we are covering the 3 different layers of markets. Now a market, you may think of it like stratigraphical layer of in geology, or layers of a cake or an onion that you peel, whatever vision kind of appeals to you. So these 3 are part of the market that we typically discuss when we talk about the economy or when we talk about real estate. Now I'm going to bring it back to real estate on this video, but when we talk about these 3 different markets, we sometimes misuse the terms. And then when we look at market updates or needing to know things that are very particular to us instead of what everyone else is experiencing, there's sometimes a little bit of confusion between the 3, but once you peel back and scale zoom into it, you see the differences and they really stand out. So this should be a quick video, but I feel like it's an important topic to cover. So as we talk about these layers, it's kind of looking at a big picture and then zooming a little bit in and then zooming way in. It's like looking at Google Maps, or on The Simpsons, they will like draw out the globe and then they will like whoosh on the state and then whoosh on the house in the neighborhood. So it's gonna be like that. I wish I had those kinds of graphics to do that. But the 3 are, let me put this away because you know I'm gonna use my hands and I need the space and I need both of them. So the 3 are national, regional, and local. So what's the difference? National, that's kind of a given. When you look at the whole nation, when we talk about, let's say, an interest rate hike or a consumer price index report saying the inflation is a certain amount, that's national. Or like an average price of gas, right? We hear that on the news from time to time, the average price of gas. And you look at that and you're like, this is like a different world. It has nothing to do with where I live. It does not represent my region or what I just paid. Because chances are, if you live in the Pacific Northwest, if you live in New York or Pennsylvania, or if you live in Cali, you look at the national average of gas prices and there's a huge skew. You think, who is so lucky enough to pay at least $2 less per gallon than what I'm paying right now? And where do I move to pay that? Like, does it even exist? And then we think about, well, if that's the average, then there must be enough of the lower points to create that average because we're paying a lot more. An average for a whole nation is like putting a cozy blanket on everything. It kind of generally, very generally covers everything, but isn't really effectively representing any one place at a time. So, regional. How does regional differ? Regional in real estate is a little bit different than regional that most people think about. When we step out of real estate and we say, okay, what is regional? We say Pacific Northwest. The Pacific Northwest has Washington, Oregon, Cali. Idaho is really close to us, but we look at a region that big. We look at the South and we say, oh my gosh, there are so many states I can say are part of the Bible Belt or part of the South. Same thing as Northeast. Do all real estate agents in like 3, 4, 5, 7 states have access to those states? No. In real estate, our regional is a lot smaller. The Northwest MLS, which is just one of the databases across the country that we as real estate brokers have access to provide you with accurate information, to post our listings, to present our buyers' offers. So in the Washington state, especially where I am, it's called the Northwest MLS. Now the Northwest MLS covers about 27 counties. And those are not all the counties even in Washington, but it covers them. And I'll try to get a list of the counties that are mentioned. So looking at the Northwest MLS, we have better numbers than if we were looking at nationally, because all of a sudden the skews from the median price point, we're not looking at like $500,000 differences. We're looking at maybe 80 to 120,000 difference, and that is still huge, but it's because we're in a closer geographical area. We're also talking about generally, when you stick to the same area, you have the same resources in terms of lumber and lumber prices, in terms of new construction and remodels and the cost of those. We look at professions around and buyers as a whole and what they tend to do in the area, what businesses they tend to work in. So that kind of creates the regional differences that you see throughout the US. And then in the Northwest MLS, they are great at putting out every month, somewhere around end of the first week, beginning of the second week, they put out stats for us from how did real estate do the month prior, so the last 30 days. And we keep seeing those numbers refresh, and based on that, we can draw some inferences as to what the pattern is like and where the real estate market is going. If a client were to call me and say, hey, Sasha, come over, look at our house and price it for us. And first of all, there's a lot of prep work before I go there. But if I come there, I'm not going to give you the national. I'm most likely not even going to cover the middle one. What's the middle one? Oh my gosh, the regional one. Whew. I'm probably not even going to mention the regional averages to you because they do not apply to you. If you want to know them, I have those numbers because I keep tabs on them all the time. But I'm not going to bore you with them because they're not relative to you. What you want to know is how much your house is worth, how the homes around your house within 1 to maximum 3 mile area is worth, how well they were selling, how many days it took for them to sell. All of that is a lot more like we're looking at national, then whoop, and we zoomed in on regional. Now you want to whoop and zoom in like literally on the house in your neighborhood. Let's take Redmond, right? Greater Seattle region. We're looking at Redmond. Well, where in Redmond are you? If you're in Education Hill, then let's look at that area. Then we're not looking at downtown. We're not looking at anywhere near Sammamish. Kirkland doesn't apply to you. It's the area where you're at and how well that area is doing. And that can mean different things. Newport Shores in Bellevue. It's a community of about 350, maybe a little more homes. And it is a really nice community. And it is a gated community. So even though the size is large, because of, well, number one, because of the size, it's not like just 10 or 20 homes. And then you look at how it's situated, and it's closed in from a lot of the other surrounding neighborhoods. If I'm talking to a homeowner in Newport Shores, that I'm not talking to them about any of the surrounding Bellevue neighborhoods, because I know that that may skew the numbers and that it may not apply. You may be a street over and you may be in a different county, or you may be from the county to the city. And what you're looking at is that division. Maybe it's a school district and your school is known for higher and better grades. Well, you should know, or your real estate broker should really know where that line ends, because if I'm telling you your schools are amazing, but you don't live in that school district, there's a problem, right? There's a problem in the numbers being skewed, in how you would present it. Now, brokers are not responsible for specifying which school district they're in. But when you're a good broker and you want to know how to present a property or a neighborhood, you are aware of the things that matter to people. The walkability may be important to some. To others, it may be schools. To others, it may be access to universities or hospitals nearby for their work. Things that we do not advise on is what neighborhood to be in, what neighborhood to look in. We can tell you the stats of, hey, this house on this listing, it says that it's part of the school district. And then let you do the research and say, do I want my children going to the school district or not? That's not up to us. We can see that you qualify for a certain amount and say, based on that amount and based on the qualifications and the standards that you have for a house, I can show you 3 or 5 different neighborhoods that fits that mold, and here are the homes in there, but they're going to be diverse neighborhoods and they're going to be different areas. So when we talk about local, we're talking very local. We're talking making sure that our buyers are aware of the amenities around, and our sellers are able to accurately represent their homes and are able to feel good about what they have to offer. So local doesn't mean within a certain minute drive. Local doesn't mean the greater Pacific Northwest local. When we're talking local, we're talking specific to your neighborhoods. In fact, it is so local that when I do put out and send out market updates in the mail, I have these lists, and I'm gonna bring one in. Now, this is an old list, so it's been used quite a lot and marked and fixed, but oh boy. But this neighborhood, and there's probably like good 7 pages here. This one neighborhood probably has close to 325 homes or something like that, if I remember that correctly. When I give a market report, my market report doesn't focus in on the city. It focuses in on this neighborhood because I have the homes, I have their stats, and when I send you, the homeowner, a market update, it's not because of the general state or the city where you're in. It really has to do with making it personal to you, with making it relative and accurate to you and your home. So there you have it, the 3 layers or levels of markets and market updates. I wanted to say market updates because when we do talk about market updates, we use these terms so interchangeably sometimes that our regional gets mixed up with the local, and we call out a national stat, and we can sometimes not clearly state that it's a national stat and assume, or somebody can assume that it's a regional stat, and that can affect the way we think about, first of all, the knowledge of the person that's presenting the message, or their ability to portray numbers correctly, or even how we think the market is going and where we think the market is going. All of that is important. So before we jump into any sort of local or regional market updates, or we talk about things that happen in the economy as a whole, and usually when I do economy or finance market updates, I'm talking about national. When we cover that, it's important to have that basis, that like foundation, and then we can easily break down the stats that are coming our way. So thank you guys so much for joining. Please subscribe to the channel. Check out my Instagram, my TikTok channels as well, and hit the bell for notification. Every day we seek to put out a new video that covers a different perspective in the real estate and our everyday lives. On Mondays, we talk about Market Mondays. Tuesday, we cover personal finance, Budget Tuesdays. Wednesdays, we talk about Turn Your Home Into Two, which is an interview between other agents all across the US and seeing how other markets are doing, how other states are doing. Speaking of which, this video applies there as well, because we look at other states and we think, oh, that's not my problem, that's a national thing. And then realize that they have a regional thing and they have a local thing. And when agents come onto this channel and they're being interviewed and they know their stats and they're on the ball and they know where to recommend that you can invest your money from anything that you have, like a equity, or selling your home, and now you can maybe downsize your home and build an investment property somewhere. Or you can scale back on some of your budgeting in order to save up to buy in a certain type of home, like a townhouse. And now you can search around different interviews and see, oh, where did they mention a townhouse that I can buy, and I can Airbnb that place. So all of that applies there too. On Thursdays, we have first-time homeowner Thursdays, and that's exciting because there have been so many people that have reached out and have wanted to know what it is that real estate is actually like, and how do I take those first baby steps without being overwhelmed or jumped on by agents. That we really seek for this to be your resource and your guide to empower you to make the decisions that you will have to make along the way, but so that you don't feel like you're not getting the answers that you need. And then Friday is always local Fridays. So we cover local cities, local businesses, local events even, and that is exciting. And on Saturdays, it's a little surprise that's coming up, but on Saturdays, we'd like to reach out to our Ukrainian community, and with everything going on, to bring more awareness to it, to bring more awareness of not the news of what's going on in Ukraine per se, but I feel like from our perspective as living here, we are better equipped to look at what it takes for the process of bringing people over from Ukraine right now, bringing refugees over, and what it means to be a sponsor, what it means to be a refugee. What are the first steps that are expected of them when they do come here, and how long are they allowed to stay for? What the process will be like as policies and things will be evolving down the line. So all of that is actively being worked on and put out there. So join the channel, join us, create a community, and I'd love to see you back. Thank you.